What is up, my friends? So yeah, I got to see Venom. I don't know why I did that noise, but I got to see Venom yesterday at a screening. It's like a 1 day early screening, so it was pretty cool, but it's not as cool as when I saw Civil War a month earlier. But still, I did enjoy the movie. However, it does have flaws, as many people have pointed out. It has a very weird place where it doesn't know what if it wants to be a comedy, it wants to be a superhero flick, it wants to be an action flick, or at times a horror flick at times. And although I didn't have as much as a problem as many people, I still see where people will be like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Like, be one or the other. And I can see why Venom would be a hard movie to actually give a tone, because Venom in comic book is just like, he's funny, he's scary, he's crazy, and he's just jam-packed with action. So it's going to be hard to place him in like a sort of category. But nonetheless, I do think that the movie was pretty good. I think Venom and Tom Hardy's relationship in this movie was pretty awesome as well, to see the back and forth. At times, though, Tom Hardy, I believe, his accent slips, and that makes it a weird, like, little, like, he sounds a little weird and off at times. But for the character he's playing, Eddie Brock, who's like kind of like, what the fuck is going on with me, and he's kind of hysterical at times, I guess it works this time around. Some of the dialogue in the script on here also was pretty weird, especially the turd line that we all know from the trailer. It's still in the movie, and yes, it's still kind of cringy, and people will laugh at it, but not many people did laugh at it. But let's just talk about the ending, and where the fuck are we going after that ending, the post-credit scene. Well, should I say the mid-credit scene, and then we'll talk about the post-credit scene in another video, because post-credit scene, spoilers alert, is about Spider-Verse, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow probably. But anyways, the story basically follows an origin for Eddie Brock, who is a really big-time journalist. He has his girlfriend who's an attorney, and he gets put on this case. Well, he has this interview with Carlton Drake, who is this guy who has like a life foundation, that's what it's called, and they're trying to cure cancer. They're sending rocket ships into space. They're just trying to get humanity to that next level, as he explains it. Now, during one of these missions into space, the crew brings some symbiotes. Yes, these are the symbiotes that will one of them later become known as Venom. They bring them back to Earth, but then one of them escapes and they start attacking. And then we see that this person that is attacked is actually now attached with the symbiote. So when the crash happens, they actually start like walking away. They start transferring into different people so they're not seen, and ultimately end up transferring to a little girl who by the end of the film goes to meet up with Carlton Drake. So in the beginning of the story, Eddie Brock is assigned to go interview Carlton Drake because he's trying to do some PR stunt to make sure that the crash and all of that seems like an accident, that he's trying his best to do things. But then Eddie Brock, since his girlfriend is an attorney and her firm actually cover for Drake, he finds out that he has been doing some pharmaceutical tests that have had many people die. And yeah, so pretty much Eddie Brock is like, I'm not going to let this guy slide. So when he goes to interview him, he starts talking about all these things, about the trials and all of that he's done that aren't safe. Carlton, of course, gets pissed off, and he gets him out of the building. Eddie loses his job, and also his girlfriend loses his job. And then we cut to 6 months later, and Eddie is like living alone. He's like pretty much broke, down on his luck. His girlfriend has moved on, and then he finds a tip from one of the doctors from Carlton Drake, who's like, I don't like what's going on. He's doing these things with the symbiotes, and people are dying, and he doesn't care. He's using them as guinea pigs. And then Eddie Brock goes to investigate with her, and then Eddie sees one of his friends is actually being used by the symbiote, and Carlton is using her. And then he opens up her case, and then that's when Venom, who is attached to her, attaches to Eddie. The people try to get him, the security guards and everything, but of course now with his enhanced abilities and everything, he manages to escape with ease. He finds out that Venom is actually a symbiote, and he gives him extra strength and all of these other things and superpowers, whatever you want to call it. But Venom has to eat, and we find out that Venom has to eat, and if he doesn't eat, he's just going to eat Eddie's organs. And so this creates a lot of tension, a lot of funny moments with Venom and Eddie. Carlton finds out soon that Eddie is the one holding the symbiote, and then he pursues to chase him down with some of his goons. They do so, and I think this was one of the most interesting and best parts about the movie, was all the chase scenes, the action scenes, and getting to see Venom in action. Of course, they don't capture him, and we see that, but finally Eddie's ex-girlfriend Annie finds out about what's going on. She takes him back to the doctor who she's dating with to get some tests on him. Venom isn't with this because he has to go to an MRI. And the MRI creates this sound because the symbiotes are all weakened by this sound. I think it's 4600 hertz or fire. That's their biggest weakness. So Annie figures this out and cranks the MRI on to get the symbiote out of Eddie, and then the symbiote is left trapped. Eddie runs away because he's done with everything. But then the Carlton people, they show up at the hospital and they take Eddie, thinking he still has a symbiote. But the Venom symbiote actually attaches to a dog that's in the hospital, and then we see that Eddie is being like tortured by Carlton, and they're trying to find out exactly where it is. He tells them he's not going to let them know where it is. And that's when we find out that Carlton has actually been infused with the symbiote Riot as well now. And they're planning to bring back 1 million symbiotes to Earth so that they could all feed on humans. And that is their master plan. They wanted to take Venom with them, but if they can't, then they're just going to go on their own. Venom appears, and Venom is actually Annie, who has infused with Venom. Then we see Venom infused back with Eddie. They go to fight Riot, and of course Riot is a lot stronger, as Venom has pointed out. He was the team leader, so he has all these weapons that he's able to like put out. And a tough fight, I must say, and it was pretty cool and pretty awesome and pretty confusing at times watching this fight, because it's symbiotes fighting each other, and they would fuse and merge and fight, and then we would see Eddie's head and we would see Carlton's head, and it was just a funny like moment, but it was cool as well. Ultimately, they are able to kill off Riot and Carlton as they blow up the ship, and of course the fire burns both of them alive. We see Venom burn as well, trying to save Eddie, and then that's the end of it. At the end, we see Annie and Eddie having a talk. Presumably, Venom is dead at this moment. Annie has got a new job being a defender, and also Eddie has got another job just being his own reporter. He has a big case that he's going to be reporting on, the big interview he talks about that he doesn't reveal to Annie, but he says it's a big one. And then we see that Venom actually is still alive as he starts talking to Eddie during this, and that's how the movie basically ends, with them going to confront one of the villains and setting the ground. The movie basically ends with them setting some ground rules on how this relationship's going to work, that Venom can only eat really bad people, and they're going to try to save as many people as they can as well. The movie ends with Eddie eating one of these people that is always like... The movie ends with Eddie and Venom going to the store of one of Eddie's friends, and just about she's about to get like her money taken away, they go up to the guy and they eat him, and that's how the movie ends. In the mid-credits scene, we see what follows next is that Cletus Cassidy will be in the next Venom movie. Now, Cletus Cassidy will be played by Woody Harrelson, and he will be, of course, donning Carnage as he says, once I get out, you'll see the Carnage. And that just leaves everybody thinking, like, holy fuck, I cannot wait. And all I have to say about that mid-credit scene is, what the fuck kind of wig was Woody Harrelson wearing, honestly. But other than that, the ending to Venom pretty much signifies Venom is alive and well. And he probably survived, because if a little bit of him survives, that can just like regenerate and whatnot. So I think that's how Venom survived. And Riot, I think that is pretty much the end of him. He did burn up alive, and there was no way to escape that. And I think that in this coming sequels and whatnot, we will definitely see more symbiotes, because there were still some symbiotes out there that weren't killing the Carlton Drake laboratory, so it's definitely going to be out there, and one of them could actually be Carnage, I believe. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Cletus Cassidy, as I said, he is definitely a lunatic, so imagine a lunatic and a symbiote mix. That's just pure evil. It's not like the Eddie and Venom fun relationship that we saw. This is just straight up horror theme, and I would really love to see in the next film them go into that category, which is horror, and really deliver on something truly terrifying. I think that they would have something special on their hands if they do that. But other than that, Venom is alive and well. Eddie is still going to be that reporter. We know that Eddie left New York, so there is a possibility that we might see him come back, hopefully for Spider-Man, a team-up, a fight, whatever it may be. I want to see that inevitable coming together. That would be pretty awesome. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the Venom franchise goes. I'm pretty scared, though, because of the reviews. Hopefully it does get a sequel, or it does merit into a crossover. We'll see what happens with that. But anyways, as always, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We're 500 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can get there pretty soon. As I said, Halloween themed videos coming pretty soon. And if you haven't already, like, comment, shared, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and follow me on my social media. I'll see y'all next time. Stay positive, my friends.